A little bit of a different setup tonight for your boy Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media. I figured I'd not worry too much about going up and down the stairs, but we're here and we're live with a special guest, MSU fan. And as you see by the title, MSU fan and Ballard talk 2023 Michigan State football. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, so obviously we've had you on here during the off season at least once, I think.
Yeah.
We kind of talked a little bit about recruiting. We've talked about what they did last year, but overall, what would you say is the outlook for this upcoming season, and what can we expect to see?
More competition on the defensive front for
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Michigan, Washington, Ohio State, or Penn State.
Yeah, and you get of course, you mentioned some of the teams already on the schedule for 2023. Looking at Michigan State this season, it could be a pretty good year for you. You look at this schedule, you got Central Michigan, you got Richmond. Should be two easy wins right there. It gets a little tough though. That game against Washington, I think, is going to be the key game. If you could come away with a win like that, I know my friend Mayhem Matthew loves loves Washington this season, possibly for the playoff, possibly with the Pac-12. You look at a team like Michael Penix and Washington. What stands out to you about them for Michigan State?
Michael Penix went to Indiana, so he's been around Michigan State quite a few times. So he knows the ins and outs. And
yeah. Then, of course, after those first three games, you get Maryland. You got to go to Iowa. Kinnick is a tough place to play on the road. The advantage, I mean, you got Cade McNamara over there for Iowa, but are they actually going to figure out the offense? That's the question. And yeah, I think that it could be tough to figure out the offense for Iowa. Maybe they get off to a rocky start. Could they figure it out by that game? And again, you look at some of these games in here, like Central Michigan and Richmond are probably wins right out the gate. You could upset Washington. I know you're at home, but Washington's probably going to be a favorite, probably be a better team. I think Maryland in your homecoming game could be a good win. What about Iowa on the road?
we beat Iowa twice in Kinnick since 1991. Every time we went there, we have lost. Last time we were there, we got beat 49-7.
Yeah. Moving right along to the bye week. Do you have? I guess you get one bye week. Okay. I just wanted to make sure how the calendar fell. At Rutgers, Michigan, your younger brother. At Minnesota, Nebraska, at the Buckeyes, at the Hoosiers, and then, of course, rivalry weekend, which I'm actually just now finding out that this is – and I did a Penn State, and I believe we did Michigan State too already for team previews. But I don't know how I missed the Penn State games on a Friday. I think that's pretty interesting. Going to be an NBC or Peacock game. So I look at this schedule. I think it's doable for Michigan State to make a bowl game, but you have some traps in there. I would say you probably handled Nebraska. Nebraska's not that good. I handled Rutgers. You probably could get Indiana. Those are the games, Rutgers and Indiana, I would say are question marks. Washington is probably definitely your first test of the season is Washington on September 16th. I would say if you win that game, you got to come away with something big this season, and it's going to help your case if they're trying to push for a Big Ten title, which I doubt, no offense, and possibly the college football playoff, which again, they haven't made it since 2015. But I would say I don't think Michigan State's a playoff team. I don't even think they're good enough this year to win the East, but they're
Yeah,
good enough to compete. I would still say I think they're the fourth best team in the East. I think
yeah,
it is, well, it depends on Ohio State this year. I don't know what to expect from them. They got question marks at quarterback. So does
yeah,
Michigan State, I guess. So
yeah.
really, you're third or fourth in the division definitely behind Penn State and Michigan.
Yeah. And Penn State and Michigan State is going to be played at Ford Field in Detroit,
Okay.
which why they moved it to Detroit, I do not know.
Yeah. That is interesting, actually.
I think we should play Michigan there every year.
I think actually that'd be pretty good. It'd be in state, but it'd also be neutral field.
We don't have any
Home
tunnel fights
Lions.
again.
What's that?
We don't have any tunnel fights again.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot all about that.
yeah.
Um, so again, talking Michigan State football tonight with MSU number one fan. Talking 2023, we've gone through the schedule. I do want to look at some of the transfers and talk about some of the players you guys have for this season. So Peyton Thorne actually surprised me that he entered the portal. He goes to Auburn. You also lose a big guy in Keon Coleman. That's the latest from Michigan State. So you haven't really dipped into the portal lately since April. And you also haven't lost anybody since April, at least according to 247 Sports. So has something kind of changed a little bit with Mel Tucker to where he's kind of gotten the culture and kept some guys the past couple months? Or what do you see the overall culture of Michigan State right now, considering the transfer portal this year?
I think with once Jaden Reed in the NFL draft, Thorpe only really knew Coleman, didn't know much of the other receivers than Trey Mosley. And Thorne played through an injury the whole year last season. And
Yeah.
most of our fan base did not want him to be our starter. I think it was a mutual parting of both parties. So
Okay.
Keon
So,
Coleman got the dribble of basketball out for Tom Izzo against Michigan for our
oh yeah,
basketball team.
dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
He's
you guys, I mean, you guys lost some players even back to going to January after the season ended. I mean, you could go down the list at Chase Carter going to, I don't even know who this is right here. I have to highlight it. It looks like a Redbird, so I don't know what school that is. Jeff Petrowski is an edge who's a 3-star. You lost him in January to Wisconsin. You lost the running back in Elijah Collins to Oklahoma State. You brought in from Nebraska Alante Brown. So you've lost a lot. You haven't really brought in enough to make up for the losses.
yeah.
But I'm curious as to what you have brought in. Is it going to be good enough to help Michigan State in the long term?
I think once we got Nathan Carter from UConn, that's gonna help out our run game next year.
Yeah.
We also got a guy from Texas A&M.
Yeah, I was looking at that actually. Let me double check who that was. You got when did he come in? Oh, did you get? Are you talking about Tunmise Adelaide, who's the defensive lineman?
Yes,
Okay,
we got him, former 5-star. He's gonna take just Petrowski's spot on the D line. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, and of course, back in December too, you had lost some guys on the defense, quite a few actually. Michael Fletcher, Deshaun Mallory, Jalen Hunt, was to name a couple guys. You lost your kicker and Jack Stone. But then on December 6th, I'm seeing here you brought in two guys from Wisconsin. You brought in NSU Edamola Filet, who's a tight end, a Florida State transfer in Jarrett Jackson. Jared Mangham is a running back from USF. So what you guys have lost, you've made up for in the transfer portal, it seems like.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I look at some like we've talked before on here about a guy in Jeremy Bernard who's at Washington now. Is there something going on that we don't know about at Michigan State? Maybe with the culture, with Mel Tucker, something's got to be happening that you've lost all these players, right? Or are they just not
yeah.
in the field?
I think he was injured and not getting playing time. Because you had Jaden Reed, you had Mosley, you had Malik Carr, and the other guys too from the running back spot.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let me get the screen share here. So we are talking Michigan State football tonight with MSU fan. Always good conversation with him. Let's talk recruiting for a minute. We're looking at the 2024 class, looking at their ranking, looking at what they have committed right now. Anthony Carey, you finished, by the way, 22 overall in 2023, which is pretty good. And you currently rank 50 right now in 2024. So maybe trying to get back up there. Are there some guys on the radar that maybe you follow or have heard about? I notice a lot of 3 stars in this class. The top recruit that you have is Anthony Carey, who's a running back from Tampa, Florida. Justin Denson is a corner. Reggie Powers. I could go down the list here, but I'm kind of curious about your thoughts of the 2024 recruiting class for Michigan State.
It's going to be a great, good class. We got Andrew Dennis, a 4-star offensive lineman, who's been bringing up his own recruiting, you could say. Bringing his friends
Okay.
up to East Lansing. Fun fact, Matt Hasselbeck's son just committed 3-star QB out of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Henry Hasselbeck committed.
Let me see if I can find him on here. Henry Hasselback, Xavier and Brothers from Westwood. He's a quarterback committed on June 30th. Okay. Like it. You also got you're heavy on the offensive line here. I noticed too. Mercer, Lanuski, Logan Bennett, Charlton, Lunawisk. Oh, you got brothers in here. Mercer,
Yeah,
Lunawiski, or I still don't know how you pronounce that. I apologize. But
that's right.
Charlton and Mercer. Okay. And they both go to Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy in Ohio. So I'm looking at this. You got a guy from Tampa. You got a guy from Westwood. You got Baltimore. You got Cincinnati. You got Providence, Rhode Island. I noticed, and you got a Tennessee guy in here, Jalen Thompson. So Mel Tucker's really recruiting out of state. So I'm curious, how do you feel about that? And what does it say? I mean, is this a turning point for the program for them to be recruiting outside of Michigan?
You gotta go statewide. You can't get all the kids in state.
Yeah.
Especially you gotta do with that some school down the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention you got Eastern, Western, and Central also in state.
Yeah. Yeah, Michigan is it's pretty well known for college football schools. You mentioned Central Michigan, Western Michigan, East Michigan, Michigan themselves, the Wolverines. So I definitely agree with you. You have to go out of state if you're going to compete. Again, we're talking Michigan State football tonight with MSU number one fan. Looking at right now, 2024 for Michigan State, 50th overall class in the composite and the overall rankings. Mel Tucker is the head coach still, and it seems like having a top 50 class, I think, is good. But I would say, is there still a feeling? You go back to 2015 when you guys made the college football playoff. Is there still a feeling that you guys could get back there one day, or are you just kind of, taking it one at a time and just looking at where Michigan State is now and saying, this is just where we are, let's work with it? Or are you guys wanting to get back to the college football playoff like ASAP?
We can get there. We're taking it baby steps.
Okay.
We can get there. It's a matter of when. Once we get rid of the divisions in 24, we won't play Ohio State in 2025.
Yeah.
Then you also have to go out west to play one of the California schools that are being added.
Okay. Yeah, with you're talking about with USC and UCLA.
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
think we should have got Pittsburgh and Notre Dame instead. Because you got Purdue, Big Ten, Indiana, Big Ten, Penn State, Big Ten. So it's like, why can't you get Pittsburgh and Notre Dame?
I understand that.
Bring back the Megaphone Trophy and God only knows what else.
Yeah.
One of the great grandsons of Schembechler had to resign at Michigan.
I did see that actually.
The question is, can they still recruit, or is that going to backfire?
Right.
I guess you've seen why he resigned.
I just saw that he did resign. I did not see the reasoning behind it.
He was posting things on Twitter that were openly racist and homophobic.
Oh, yeah, you can't have that.
You're supposed to be recruiting kids to come, not leave.
Right.
I don't understand the whole metrics there, but leave it to Jim Harbaugh for you.
Yep.
One of the Michigan State players was forced to enter the portal after the season was over because of a off-campus incident
Yeah.
involving a handgun being tossed around.
Oh no.
And Tucker's like, there's the portal. Didn't let it hit you. Went on the way out and see ya.
Yeah.
You can't represent us like that. I don't blame him.
Well, it sounds like at least in terms of what I'll say to that is, it seems like Mel Tucker at least knows what he's doing and he knows how to handle stuff like that. And obviously, he cares about the culture and the program that he's building at Michigan State. So you give him a lot of credit for that. And I would say he just, yeah, I mean, he knows what he's doing and he's not going to tolerate any, negativity or any obscene
things.
acts, trying to put it in a nice way.
Yeah. But that
Yeah.
happened at Michigan too.
Yeah.
And I guess Harbaugh was harping about how Tucker didn't handle the tunnel incident the correct way.
Okay.
He suspended the guys who needed to.
Yeah.
But the Michigan, one of their players, was shoving our guys to get through to use the men's room.
Yeah.
Can you hold it a little bit longer just so the visiting team gets to their locker room?
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's their second tunnel fight in that tunnel.
Yeah.
Last time they had it with Ohio State, so fireworks are going off.
Yeah, we've had neighbors kind of shoot some off last night, and I'm like, the fourth is over. So
Do
yeah.
is
So yeah, I mean, it seems like, dude, I always love getting you on and you providing
yeah
us updates for Michigan State. So I mean, it seems like things are kind of going their way. It seems like what they have lost, obviously, Mel Tucker is not afraid to, maybe tell it like it is. I mean, you
yeah
mentioned one where there were like racist comments or something like you were just talking about, and obviously he's not going to put up with stuff like that. And he, I do think personally, the culture is probably okay at Michigan State. I really believe that. I think culture has always been good, even with Mark D'Antonio, and he, he did his part. Mel Tucker comes in, and there's some questions, but
yeah
he comes in and he does his job well. And yes, you've lost a lot to the portal, but again, like, you've brought in guys. I mean, guys don't transfer. When it
reason.
comes to the transfer portal, you're not going to transfer somewhere just because you need to transfer somewhere. There's got to be a reasoning behind it. Like, you had a guy from, I mentioned earlier, Alante Brown from Nebraska. I mentioned you had a guy, Mason Arnold, a long snapper from Ohio State. Now, maybe, yes, they're transferring out first off because they're not seeing the field or something came up, whatever the reasoning is. But there's also a reason behind them transferring to a certain school. Why? What would your message be on why someone would go to transfer to Michigan State?
Especially with Ohio State giving us their punter too.
Yeah.
We know Ohio State's got talent and depth. If you're not going to play a whole lot at that certain college you go to, we know they want to play. So why not go to a school where you know you can play or have a chance to play at that specific school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We actually got two sets of brothers in the 21 portal. Alex Van Sumeren, Ben Van Sumeren. Ben went to the NFL now, but fun fact, they were from Michigan.
Yeah. They went to a rival school then.
Yeah.
Or are you saying that they were from the state, or were they at the Wolverines program?
I think they were in state and went to Michigan, then they transferred up here.
Okay.
I believe that Michigan game is on Fox, right?
Which one? The Michigan State?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let's see. It doesn't have a time or a television announced, so
Yeah.
yet. But it is in East Lansing this year. And
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask you this regarding the schedule. Who are you most confident in terms of if you were to pull an upset this season? I mean, you got Michigan, you got Washington. They're going to be tough. You go to the Buckeyes, you host Penn State. Of those four teams I just named, who do you like that you could possibly upset? And do you see it actually happening?
I can see Ohio State or Michigan. Ohio
Okay.
State, do they know who their quarterback is?
Good question because
Do they
they have
know
Kyle
who
McCord. They got Kyle McCord and what, Devin Brown or something
some
Brown.
yeah, Dylan or Dave, something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, who's that next receiver? Who's the next tight end? How this might be weird to say, but how good is their D in the lines? How's their running backs?
Yeah,
How's their secondary?
they really have taken steps back in recruiting. They put in great talent in the NFL every year. Not going to take that away. CJ
No,
Stroud, Jackson Smith, Paris Johnson. I could go down the list there. But they have taken steps back in recruiting a little bit. And it's not that they don't have the talent, it's just not what you would expect. So they've taken these steps back with Ryan Day. And now it just makes you wonder if they're trending in an opposite direction of where they should be going.
I'm gonna get my Ohio State preview started here in a couple of days, but I got them 7-5 to 5-7, just because of the
Wow.
unknowns.
That's pretty low for the Buckeyes. I think I had them, I don't remember what I had them, 10-2, 9-3, but then again, that was like pre-spring game. So I would say 9-3, 8-4 as of right now.
Mm.
But you're saying possibly even below 500? I mean, is that possible for Ohio State?
It depends on how the injuries and that things kind of go, as well with their quarterback situation.
Yeah.
I say we might beat Michigan. Number one, it's a home game.
Yeah.
Two, it's a rivalry game. Anything is possible. And
And you're
three,
coming off, you would have some momentum going into that game. You
yeah,
have a bye week, then you got to go play Rutgers. Well, Rutgers has improved. I still think Michigan State could even win that game on the road.
yeah,
Here's the thing. Like I said on the schedule, Central Michigan, Richmond, first 2 weeks, probably wins. Walk away with wins right there.
yep.
You pull an upset over Washington, even though it's in East Lansing. I think Washington possibly going to be a couple point, favorite. You come away with that, then you beat Maryland. What if you go to Kinnick and get Iowa? That's the real game right there. Then you get the bye week. And you got to play Rutgers. We'll see. Could you be undefeated or only have one loss in that Michigan game and you host them? You pull an upset? I mean, is that what we're looking at for this year's rivalry game?
Could be a repeat of 2021.
Yeah.
Like, that Miami game propelled us to that winning 11 season.
Yeah.
We knew going into Michigan it was going to be physical. We had Kenneth Walker. We don't have him now. The question is for Michigan, can J.J. McCarthy not switch hands in the middle of a RPO?
Yeah.
If you look at what who has Michigan had the week before?
Before Michigan
Sorry.
State?
Yeah.
I can look. I'm not too sure. So I'll give you Michigan's schedule before Michigan State.
Yeah.
They play teams like Eastern Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, at Nebraska, at Minnesota, home against Indiana, and then Michigan State on the road. So they get Indiana at home.
This might be a thing, but could they go to Nebraska and get beat?
Michigan?
Yeah,
If they're overlooking for the trip to Minneapolis,
we'll give them the little brown
if,
jug.
if they overlook Nebraska for Minnesota, that could be tough. Because you
I
got
think,
Matt Rule now at Nebraska, and
yeah,
he's got some good college experience.
I wouldn't be surprised if ECU hung around with Michigan for a half and they pull wet.
Yeah,
But you can't overlook Indiana.
right.
And I think after last time we beat Michigan at home, we lost to Purdue on the road. But I think I know Michigan plays Purdue.
They get them at home, though, on November 4th after the bye week.
That'd be so hilarious. Purdue walks in there and beats them.
Yeah. And this is tough, too. After that Purdue game, they got back-to-back games with Penn State on the road and Maryland on the road. And then you got Ohio State at home. So it's a tough schedule for Michigan. But, again, what I'm hearing, are they the odds-on favorite for the Big Ten again this season? It's possible.
I think Penn State and Maryland are going to give them a fight. Because you got Kelly and Tagovailoa coming back. You got Raheem Jarrett and all of them coming back from Maryland. A team that should have beaten Ohio State.
Yeah.
Twice in College Park. Michigan, you can't overlook them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan were to lose one to maybe three. It's kind of like Alabama. I think Bama might be 9-3, worst case. Maybe.
Honestly, you could be right about us this season because there's so many unknowns with the O line and the quarterback position, and I think there's more questions than there are answers for Alabama right now. Even though things seem to be getting better from what the experts have said in the offseason, we'll find out a lot week 2 against Texas. I think that's the game you need to circle for Alabama. We'll find out a lot about them then. Pre-spring game, before the spring game, I had them 11-1 with a loss to Auburn. After that, I wanted to change. I wish I could have gone back and changed the prediction to like 9-3. You know,
is the game at Auburn or is it in Tuscaloosa?
It's at Auburn.
I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn won that.
Yeah.
It's like, so if you're Bama, you lose to Texas. We'll see what happens with Clownbone Fisher. Then you got the Rocky Top crew coming into town.
We host LSU too.
LSU too.
Yeah.
You don't play Georgia, do you?
Only if they win the West and make it to Atlanta. Unless someone gets Georgia in the East, which honestly, let's be honest, is probably not going to happen.
If there's any team that might get them, South Carolina or Tennessee or Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they will, but it's possible.
Absolutely.
So who's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who's your game of the week for October 21st outside of Michigan, Michigan State, and Tennessee, Bama?
October 21st. Let's see.
I got my game selected.
What week would that be? Would that be like week 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Week 8. Let's go to week 8. Wisconsin at Illinois. TCU at TCU Kansas State could be good. You got the new Big 12 teams. Texas Tech at BYU. I don't know.
I
I
got
like
Penn
Michigan
State.
State this year, but I don't know about BYU.
I got
Penn
Penn
State
State
at Ohio
Ohio
State.
State. That's my game of the week.
Which one?
Penn State and Ohio State.
I would have to agree with you there. This is a good weekend in college football too. You got Ole Miss, Auburn, Clemson, Miami, Tennessee, Bama, South Carolina, Missouri could be good. Utah, USC, Boston College, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's on the rise, but yeah, that could be a good week. That's October 21st, 2023. Mark it down on your calendars. Again, we're talking Michigan State tonight. We're talking college football in general, but Michigan State tonight with MSU fan. I have run out of some questions, honestly, and we have a couple people watching, but we don't have anything from the chat. So I guess I'll leave it up to you. I mean, what else can you tell us about this year's Sparty team and Mel Tucker and everything going on for East Lansing?
Right now, it's Noah Kim and Caton Hauser for QB1.
Mm-hmm.
And if Hauser loses, does he go to Washington to be with Jeremy Bernard?
Maybe. That'd be something.
I wish that 12-team playoffs were this year. I mean, who would want Michigan State in the playoff game?
That actually, I mean, they'd have to be, well, you could get it round two, but what if you had like a 5 and 12 seed or a 6 and 11 or 7 and 10 or 8 and 9 for the first round?
I would be surprised if Utah went to the playoff.
You would be surprised or wouldn't?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is going to be interesting this year, especially with quarterbacks and Cam Rising, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, Caleb Williams. I haven't officially given out my playoff picks, but man, there's something I like.
Florida State as a dark horse, potentially.
I love Florida State this year, man. I just don't. I can't see the ACC in the playoffs other than Clemson. I just have a gut feeling Clemson's going to get back in there somehow. I think Georgia's going to find a way in winning the SEC again because they're just going to be that dominant. So you have Georgia and Clemson. I like Michigan from the Big Ten, and I like USC. I'm going to go Pac-12 there. I like Texas this year out of the Big 12, but you also have some teams like Kansas State over there too. I just don't think any of them will be good enough to make the playoff. So,
right. What do you think about some of the rule changes now in college football?
oh, like the clock not stopping on first. That's the only one I've seen actually.
Army and Navy have to run shotgun now.
They can't run the triple option?
Nope. They can't cut block.
Oh, that's right.
To me,
so they got to play like everybody else. Could that help or hurt those teams this season? We'll find out.
To me, I think it's dumb.
I think it's dumb too, but
you let the service academies run their thing, but you make everybody else who runs it change it. Because service academies are putting their butts on the line for us.
Yeah.
Let them do their thing. Georgia Tech, make them change it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a fight in Bama, Texas. I like Mississippi State to go big this year for Mike Leach, who passed away.
Yeah, they might do something big for Michael Leach. They might pull an upset or two, or maybe even go 500 and make a bowl. What if they win a bowl? That could be good.
Did you see the ending to that Illinois game last year in the bowl game?
Yes,
Bunch of
I remember seeing it, but I don't recall exactly what had happened.
pushing and shoving and all that.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it Illinois who emptied their bench? One of them emptied their benches.
Thought it was Mississippi State, honestly.
Yeah. And you got their quarterbacks and their linemen telling their guys, go back to the bench. I don't think Leach will be happy with that.
No.
And I think he's be smart. We don't want to repeat of Michigan State tunnel incident.
Right.
Right. So, thanks for having me on, Ballard.
Yeah, we look forward to the season. And again, just reach out and email me anytime you need to come on here and talk some Big Ten or Michigan State. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Yep. See ya.
MSU #1 fan coming on tonight to talk Spartan football. We love you guys. Thanks so much, everyone that tuned in. If you're watching this back, thank you. We appreciate it. We love you guys. And we hope to do it again sometime soon. I love y'all. Jesus loves you. Put God first. God bless. Peace out. And I'll say it as an Alabama fan like I always do. Roll Tide. We'll see you.